So, as most of you already know, I come from an era of video games when there was a lot of arcades, where there was a lot of sitting next to your best friend playing video games on the same television. I come from that day and age. I come from a day and age where internet was just coming around. It wasn't really here in fruition the way it is now. And I also come from that day and age where whenever you bought a video game, you were kind of banking it on a gamble. You always read the back of the box, or you looked on the back of the box, you looked at the pictures, and it was either something you wanted to play or it was something you weren't too sure about, but you tried it out anyway. I also come from the day and age of like Blockbuster and mom and pop rental stores where you would always rent your video games. And I remember when I was younger, my parents would always give me an allowance, and most of the money I would spend on, because I couldn't afford the video games, I would always rent them. Those days are gone. We all know that. Those days are gone. They tried to do it with renting, what is it, GameFly. They tried to do it, but it just didn't work. But now that I'm older and I wouldn't say I have disposable income, but I have income to buy the things that I want to play. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about right now is playing your money's worth. In the day and age that we are in now, it's more of a gamble than it was back then. Sort of. With the way it was back then, you would talk to your friend. If your friend have played it, or if anyone has played it, they can tell you if the game is bad or good. But you weren't too sure, so you would always try it yourself. Nowadays, you can just go on videos. You can kind of do the same thing, but it's a little different. Like, you're not talking to a friend, you're watching someone else make a video, and their opinion will kind of guide you in the direction you think you want to go. It's weird now because just recently I was surfing the web, and I was just on Amazon. I was like, I'm really interested in playing something, something of today's stature. And the first game that came to mind, I remember, was Spider-Man that came out just recently. And I remember I had some fun with the game, but I remember when I bought it on release day. And I remember when I bought it, and I remember saying to myself, playing it, I was like, all right, this game feels like it's going to have a lot of DLC. I can just feel it. And I think a week after I purchased the game, I heard that there was like 4 DLCs ready to be coming out periodically. When I heard that news, I immediately took the game and I traded it in. I was like, and I told myself, I was like, all right, I'm not gonna buy a game that is gonna make me pay extra money for DLC. I'll just wait until the Game of the Year edition comes out. Lo and behold, I think that game came out 2 years ago or a year and a half ago. And I searched Amazon, and there it was, Spider-Man Game of the Year edition. And I was like, great, I'm gonna go ahead and purchase this game. Before I purchased it, something in my gut told me, all right, this is the game industry. You nowadays you can't trust the game industry. I'm gonna do some research, and did some background searching on the Spider-Man game, and lo and behold, the DLC is not on the disc. This causes a bad precedent if you really think about it in retrospect, because without the game being on the DLC, eventually we're going to move into a future where they're not going to support the game anymore. So if people who buy this Game of the Year edition, and it says that the game comes with the 4 DLCs when it really doesn't, in the future, people who want to play this game again really can't enjoy the other 4 DLCs because it's not available for purchase. Now, if you think that things are going to stay the same and it's going to last forever, that Sony is going to be around forever. Always remember, nothing in this world lasts forever. Something, a conglomerate will come around, buy them up, and we've already seen it done with EA. We've seen it done with multiple other gaming studios. My thought process is not very, I would say, optimistic in the terms of, this is going to last forever. We're going to be able to play this 25 years from now. 25 years from now, no one's going to care about this game but you. So you have to think about it like, am I going to be able to download this in 10, 15 years? And when you really think about it, no company lasts forever. And eventually all of those DLCs will go away, and all you have is a base box called the Game of the Year Edition, when it's really not. So I decided not to get the game, and I thought to myself, okay, there's the Game of the Year edition's out. Alright, so I'm assuming that there's going to be a definitive edition that's going to drop on probably the PS5 that has all the DLCs, and it has upscaled graphics, and they're going to sell it to you for about $40 or $30, depending on how they're feeling that day. But it's becoming a weird trend that I don't want to see go on for the future generations, because I'm not going to say my generation was perfect, because there were flaws. There was a lot of shovelware. There was a lot of terrible games that should not have been made. And it's not me comparing the two, because that's not what this is. It's more or less like, as I know that you guys that listen to my videos, you guys are either in high school or you're in college, or if I have older audiences, that would be great. That's awesome. And even if I have younger ones, but a lot of you guys don't have disposable income. You're paying for something that that pushes your future forward. And with the games today, they all seem like they're in competition for your time. If you look at a lot of the Ubisoft games, they're all open world. They need you to play all the time. They want you to do that daily grind. They're all competing for your time, and our time is spread thin. And what I've noticed as I gotten older, I don't have that kind of time anymore. Because I work, I want to do other things like hang out with friends, go see my parents and hang out with family. I just don't have the time to commit to a game like The Division, although I did enjoy the first one. I found it very fun when I played with my friends, but after you kind of done the things that you wanted to do and you guys had your time with it, you kind of move on to other things. And I noticed that it has become quite difficult for me. I can't speak for anybody else, but for me, it has become quite difficult to buy a brand new game. Because the other game that I was looking forward to trying out, because for some reason videos keep popping up on my feed, so I check it out, was Days Gone. Days Gone looks like a game I would enjoy, but it's also open world, so that means it's very sandboxy. That means that I'm probably going to have to run from one checkpoint to the next, do fetch quests, and do all this, type of monotonous work. And it does look like fun, but most of the time I'm thinking about the time that I have to put into this single game. Now, I understand for younger audiences, the game would probably be perfect, because you probably don't have disposable income. You buy a game, and that's the game you're going to be playing. With me, it's because I work so often, and I don't have the time. I have to find a game that I can play, really enjoy, and kind of push to the side and say, if I like this, or if I don't, I will definitely keep the game. But a lot of times I find myself beating a game, putting it to the side, and then forgetting about it for a couple of months. I don't really trade the good games in anymore. I kind of just keep them. The ones that I notice I play for 15 minutes and then I'm just like, it's okay, I kind of sell those games off, or I give them away to friends, depending on, I guess, how I'm feeling in the particular moment. But it has become that. So anyway, I just want to ask you guys, how do you feel about the momentum, the constant drive to just this games of a service, this game companies competing for your time, and can you guys feel it whenever you guys buy a brand new game and playing your money's worth? Does that ever pop into your head?